Hey everybody, it's Woodhouse204 again. Tactics Ogre Reborn is 3 weeks away, and after watching a bunch of videos and reading all the things that are being changed in this remake, I am super pumped for this game. So much so that I need to be playing something else whilst we wait. So let's get into it, shall we? These are the top 10 games that are like Tactics Ogre, but aren't Tactics Ogre. Number 10. Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions. We might as well start with this, the game that is the immediate sequel of Tactics Ogre, and the reason that Quest and the director Yasumi Matsuno were brought into the fold at Square Enix. Final Fantasy Tactics. War of the Lions, Final Fantasy Tactics, is a remaster of the 1997 game on the PlayStation 1. That was made for the game's 10-year anniversary for the PSP and features an entirely retranslated script and several changes to how the game plays to make this the best strategy RPG on the market as of right now. I actually have a video that discusses why this is, but who knows how I'll feel in 3 weeks' time. This game features a lot of the same combat mechanics as Tactics Ogre, and if you haven't played this before, then you should try and figure out a way to, change that. Number 9. Devil Survivor Overclocked. If you like RPGs, there's a good chance that you're a fan of the Persona series by Atlas. Whilst Devil Survivor Overclocked isn't part of that universe, it is a Shin Megami Tensei game, meaning that it has the same dark tone, packed with demons and death, and in this case, the premonition of that. What makes this similar to Tactics Ogre, you ask? Honestly, it's a bit tenuous, but the combat does take place on a tile grid, allowing you to position your team around to your advantage when taking on demons. However, when you do attack, the game reverts to its regular Shin Megami Tensei way of doing things, with turn-based combat being the order of business. It's also set in modern Tokyo, which is quite far from Ivalice. On the plus side though, this game has an amazing survival story, packed in with the great Shin Megami combat that you would come to expect from a game in the series. Number 8. Wintermoor Tactics Club. From the fields of Ivalice proper and modern Tokyo, we move to, school? Yeah. In Wintermar Academy, you play as Alicia, a high school student who is a member of the local Curses and Catacombs Club, who is forced to take part in a snowball tournament to keep said club from being abolished. The way you do this is by the power of your imagination, which basically translates pretending you're playing D&D while smashing kids' faces in with snowballs. Tiles are in full effect here, with recruitable characters all adding extra gameplay mechanics to keep things interesting, along with the game's well-written story and dialogue. Honestly, this game is kind of a palate cleanser for me. When you take into account the fact that the main character is so nice to everybody and actually gets to be nice, it's such a great change from some of the other strategy RPGs on this list. Number 7. Shining Force 2. I'm almost afraid to talk about this game these days, since someone will get upset with me for not doing more Shining Force content, but I would be a fool not to include it in this list. Shining Force 2 is the oldest game in this list, and as such, it is somewhat dated in its appearance and the simplicity of its combat. With that being said, there is also a robust modding community for this game, with several mods made by Darklaw in particular being a great challenge to those of you who think you've seen it all and need knocking down a peg or two. Details on those down below. As for the base game, you are the hero Bowie, who must save his kingdom from the great devil Xeon, who has returned to your world to plunge it into darkness. It's standard stuff, but the cast are well characterised and pleasingly designed, and the battle screen features some of the best sprite work of the generation. If you're looking for a throwback, or maybe a mod-assisted challenge, Shining Force 2 might be for you. Number 6. Jeanne D'arc. Don't be too upset if you've never heard of this one, but hopefully by the end, you'll realise that you do need to play this in your future. Level 5 made this strategy RPG for the PSP back in 2007, using the plot of Joan of Arc into a compelling story involving demons, who are the English of course, and Jeanne, a girl who throws away her femininity to fight for her country using the power of a magical armlet to build an army to turn the tide of the war. So be forewarned, the English voice actors trying to do French accents is grating.
Well, what are you then? I'm French! Why do you think I have this outrageous accent, you silly king?
The gameplay makes up for all of that though. Whilst you're watching this and noting the normal tile-based combat, it's behind the scenes and the customization that makes all the difference here. Just like with the Final Fantasy VII Materia system, you can outfit all of your characters with skill stones, making it possible to retrofit your entire cast from frontline bruisers into backline mages with just a few clicks. Very handy, and with 150 skills to discover through stone binding, there's tons of depth here to be discovered. Number 5. Front Mission 3. So what better way to wait for a game about soldiers on foot in a fantasy world than by playing a game about giant robot mechs that fire enormous bullets, eh? This is Neo Japan and the world of the Wanzer. I included this game on the list because of it obviously being a tile game, while having turn-based combat just like Tactics Ogre. I also selected Front Mission 3 as the starting point because Front Mission 1 has a really slow story that goes places, but takes way too long to get there. Front Mission 2 only has a pretty bad fan translation available for now. If you like mecha, this is a fantastic game, with solid polygon graphics that show all those glorious interchangeable Wanzer parts, and interesting skill-based combat that's much deeper than some of the other games on this list. Add to this the political intrigue that is well written, and you're pulling a lot of the same strings that make Tactics Ogre so great. Number 4. Fire Emblem Three Houses. You know that I had to include one of these in here somewhere, right? Fire Emblem has become the biggest strategy RPG series in video games, and whilst I do have a few things I'm not super keen about, it's undeniable that there are aspects of this series that it is unmatched at. The main one of these for me is the support system. Having characters be close to each other on the battlefield turns into cutscenes and often romances outside of battle. These story points are well written and make you care for the party members you gain along the way, and everyone I have talked to about these games has their favourites. Marianne for life, by the way. These games have a rock, paper, scissors mechanic that has never really gotten me like Final Fantasy Tactics or Tactics Ogre has. But it is serviceable, basically becoming the platform that I can perform all of my fanfiction from. Either way, you should probably play this if you haven't. Number 3. The Banner Saga. In my Final Fantasy Tactics video, I was asked why I didn't include the Banner Saga as a suitable comparison point. And my reason is thus. Final Fantasy Tactics, in my opinion, has the greatest battle systems in its class. But for the story and its world building, the Banner Saga might just have it beat. In this Viking-inspired world, featuring huge ogre-sized Varl, humans, and the evil Dredge, you play Rook, a man who must attempt to guide his recently attacked village through the snowy wastes to reach safety from the invading Dredge. What follows, when not in tile-based strategy combat, are some of the toughest choices I've ever had to make in a video game. Feed my caravan by slaughtering innocents and taking their cattle, or go hungry and watch as people die of starvation. This is but one example of the gut-twisting choices the game forces your character to come to, all the while the snow piles higher and the sun never sets in the sky, leading some to believe it is the end of the world. You should decide for yourselves by playing this game. It will make you feel things. Number 2. Felsi, Arbiter's Mark. Now, to my great shame and embarrassment, I have not played very much of Felsi. It was bought for me as a gift and told on great authority that it is akin to Final Fantasy Tactics 2. It has since sat in my backlog, often looking at me when I scroll through my Steam library, staring me down when it catches my gaze. What little I did play of this game told me what I read elsewhere. This game is tough. This is not something to play before bed when you want to switch off. You need to be wide awake for this one, as even from the beginning, defeat is not unheard of. Depth of that combat is apparent too, with a huge number of primary and secondary classes to be chosen for during the customization of your group, assigning learned skills to figure out the best way to defeat this difficult game. The story is very interesting too, with you playing as Kiri, an Arbiter, who answer to the Council of Immortals. And when one of them wishes to step down from their post, well, things get interesting in that political plot kind of way. I've said that a lot, haven't I? It's a great game. It's also another one that is on sale on Steam right now. It's also £6 until the 27th, which is a great deal for a 40 to 50 hour game of this caliber. Like every other game on this list, link down below. Number 1. Triangle Strategy. You may have already guessed this one, but for me, Triangle Strategy is my game of the year so far. Forgetting the fact that Square Enix have obviously lost the ability to name video games properly, they have not, at least, lost the ability to make a great strategy RPG, as this has pretty much everything I want in a video game. Gorgeous HD sprite work, deep gameplay and intriguing plotlines that branch with choices are my laundry list of what makes a great video game, and Triangle Strategy delivers it in spades. Ever since Octopath Traveler was released, I knew I liked the way HD pixel art styling looks. I disliked the game, but I was more than happy to see it return here. All the settings are shown in vibrant colour, and those particle effects? Nice. As for the systems and mechanics, each playable character has a unique set of skills and abilities, and the combination of those give you an enormous amount of possibilities. Whether it's Roland with his more standard cavalryman skills, or Jens with his ladders and traps that feel more like in line with a puzzle game than straightforward battles. These options for battle are almost at the same high mark of Final Fantasy Tactics, while still having their own unique style. And as for options, the choices afforded you by the conviction system are amazing, and offer a lot of those to you interested in playing through a New Game Plus after your first playthrough. Your choices throughout the game, whether they're in battle or out, assign a different currency: morality, liberty, or utility. These currencies allow the main character, Serenoa Walfort, to attempt to push branching paths from one way to another during war councils, since your player character allows decisions to be made democratically. These are decided by voting, and with your convictions, you can attempt to sway a council member from one choice to another, with their success or failure balanced by your score in each of these categories. These council meetings offer big changes to the direction of the story, and you really feel like it makes a difference when you persuade one person to change their mind. This is my number 1 choice for a game to play whilst waiting for Tactics Ogre Reborn, especially since it recently came out on PC for Steam. But perhaps you have some other ideas about what would be good to play whilst we wait. So maybe drop a comment. Or if you're new here and would like to see more strategy RPG content, maybe subscribe and do all that buttony goodness down there. But for now, that's going to do it from me, and I'll see you all next time. Ciao.
Jeanne, what now? Jeanne, what are you going to do?